you're here. Yeah, we're so glad you're here. Oh, we're so glad to be together in unity. We're so glad you're here. We're so glad you're here. Oh, all right.
So just as a reminder, this is Potluck Sunday, so we will be having a potluck out on the pavilion following the service. Also, if you attended Linda Smith's fabulous class on the essential oils of the ancient scriptures, I have your manuals this morning, so be sure and see me after the service so that you can get those. How is everyone, and how was your week? Good, 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 good. Well, it's so... It is beyond a sense of gratitude that we have when you take of your time to be here and join with us on Sunday mornings and add your energy to the creation of this thing we call the Unity Sunday Morning Celebration. It wouldn't be the same if you weren't here.
That's
the
right.
energy would somehow be just a little different. So thank you for being here. And we're going to lean into the word optimism this morning. How many of you are feeling optimistic? If you didn't raise your hand, really focus on this word, because it can be easy to fall into pessimism these days, can't it? Depending on what you tune into and what you listen to, what you give your eye gates and your ear gates over to, it can be really easy to be pessimistic. So let's focus on being optimistic this morning and affirm together, optimism colors my world with love. Ooh, let's say that one again. Optimism colors my world with love. My experience of the world depends on the attitude I bring to it. I should say that again, shouldn't I?
Yes.
My experience of the world depends on the attitude that I bring to it. When I hold positive thoughts and share the love in my heart generously, the world becomes an inviting, friendly place. Optimism makes me a magnet for positive people, exciting opportunities, and serendipity of all kinds. It lifts my consciousness out of the mire of worry, anxiety, and fear, and keeps me focused on the beauty of the earth, the goodness of people, and the presence and power of God. When I perceive God in the kind acts, selfless impulses, and loving service happening all around me, my optimism grows. I feel renewed and inspired as I focus on what is right and good in my life. In gratitude for the world's wonders, I grow in optimism. And Romans 12:21 reminds us, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And how many remember that the idea of evil is just living life backwards, because the word evil backwards is live, right? When we live backwards, we live from that place, it's evil. So overcome that with good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so an interesting thing is happening to me this morning.
Oh.
Yeah, James doesn't even know this yet. But you know, when you pick out things to talk about, it's interesting how the universe goes, okay, here you go. Here's you an opportunity to deal with and to walk out in shoe leather what it is you're talking about. So this morning we're talking about surrender, and detachment, and being in the flow. And I've had so many opportunities this morning to surrender and to let go.
It's working.
Starting with the TV out in the lobby, I put the flash drive in, and it wouldn't work this morning. I tried many ways to get it work, and Jim Hall finally said something to me, and I said, yeah, it's taken away my ability to experience my joy in this moment. So I'm going to have to, I guess, surrender. I guess I'm just going to have to surrender to it. So it's amazing how when we talk about things, those very lessons are pulled into our lives. So are you ready to experience some opportunities this week to surrender and let go and be in the flow?
That's how you get good at it, right?
Yes, it is. We have to exercise those spiritual muscles in order to get good at things, right?
But first, a mother went to wake her son up for church one Sunday morning. When she knocked on his door, he said, "I'm not going." And she says, "Why not?" "I'll give you 2 good reasons. One, they don't like me. And 2, I don't like them." And so his mother replied, "Son, that's no excuse. I'll give you 2 good reasons why you will go to church. Number 1, you're 59 years old. And number 2, you're the pastor." All right.
So how many like being in control? Yeah, we do. It's our, whether you want to admit it or not, it's part of our natural state to want to be in control, to have control over our situations.
Has this got anything to do with the remote?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
We both have our own remotes. It's very interesting.
Thich Nhat Hanh said, when we give ourselves the chance to let go of all of our tension, the body's natural capacity to heal itself can begin to work. There is a great opportunity for ourselves in letting go. If we let go in the body tension and healing can happen, imagine what can happen if we let go of our need to control, of our preconceived ideas and beliefs about things. The healing that might happen to our, dare I say, consciousness.
Yes.
To our thinking. Oh my.
I think you did say it.
I did say. Yeah?
So what happens when you let go? There's certain physiological things that happen inside your body. How many know that the word forgiveness literally means to let go? To let go.
How many were here last week for Reverend Karen's talk on forgiveness?
Yeah, good stuff.
Wasn't that good? Mm-hmm. Oh, that was so rich.
And it might be good to go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
Really,
it was so rich.
It's very good. But learning how to allow life to unfold naturally. Right? Everybody wants to be normal. Not necessarily a good thing these days.
What is normal?
What is normal?
A setting on the washing machine. That's what normal is.
That's what it is.
Right.
I want to be natural. I want to be natural. Because when you're naturally embracing life, you are no longer in resistance to it. Right? We no longer create opponents and adversaries. We create them through our resistance to something. We're in resistance to something. And so when we can get out of resistance, then we can enter into what is called flow. We know the difference is resistance, flow. Right? So how do you feel inside this morning? Take a breath. Are you in resistance to anything right now? Would you consider letting it go? Would you consider any person that you're holding in consciousness in a negative way, would you consider just letting them be? How many know that you may never say a negative thing about another person verbally? You may never act up in public. But on the inside, there's a whole battle that could be going on and just fighting with life. You know, in a battle with life, in a battle with those people on the other side of my political beliefs, Everybody knows they're wrong and I'm right. Or that other church. You know what a cult is, right? It's that church down the street that doesn't believe like we do. Right?
You know, it's the difference between approaching life walking in spirit, walking in a place of consciousness, leaning into a more contemplative lifestyle where you're just abiding. You know, the scripture talks about abiding in the vine, abiding in the spirit. When we get into the great intellectual exercises is when we create the need to have the other, because the intellect requires that there be somebody that has a different opinion than me, that has something that I can combat. So whenever we meet up with life and we try to intellectualize everything, take control over things,
right.
think our way through what's happening, we actually wind up getting in trouble. We make the same level of thinking that creates the problems is not the level of thinking that we need to use to solve the problems, right? It's leaning into that state of just walking through life being. Does that make sense? You understand that idea of being?
When we get into our intellect, many times we create a box. It's okay, this is the way it is. We've got it all figured out. How many here have it all figured out? Don't raise your hand. Raise the left toe, the little toe in your left foot. You think you got it all figured out. There are many times in my life I've thought I had it all figured out. And as soon as you think that, in the little minds that we have, I'm sorry to say, but it's true. Your mind, your brain is only so big. There is an infinite intelligence, an infinite mind that holds all things and all thoughts and all feelings and all people. It's what we call God, right? This way, my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. My ways are higher than your ways, it says in Isaiah, right? So we get in this little box, and when you're in the box, you can't dance. How many know that you're here to dance with your life? Mm-hmm. You're here to dance with it. We got any dancers here? Anybody a professional dancer, or just like to? I consider anybody who gets up and moves around a professional. Do we have any of those here? So, dancing with life is how we get into the flow. In other words, it's whatever God sends our way, whatever the universe sends to us, I'm going to dance with that. I'm going to dance with this situation, with this person, with this idea, with this thought. And, you know, it may not be a forever dance. How many know some dances are temporary? You've got your stayers and your passer-throughs. How many know it's important to know the difference? You don't want to get them mixed up. You don't want to marry a passer-through. Tell somebody, say, oh, that was smart. That's a good idea, right? You don't want to join yourself to anything that's temporary. Everything basically is temporary. So it's every dance has a beginning and an end, right? Yeah. And so that's life.
You said, you know, dancing with whatever the universe sends our way. So let's take that just a little step deeper. It's really whatever we have co-created for ourselves, because we come back to that idea that what I'm thinking today creates my tomorrow. Whatever I'm thinking today is creating my future. So we're really co-creating these things that show up in our life, and then we're upset because we have to dance with them.
Well,
you created it.
It's obviously your fault.
Right.
Not mine.
Right. So it's the number one lesson in that is to pay attention to what you're thinking today so that you know what you're creating for yourself in the future. But it's also understanding that, the beauty of dancing with whatever shows up.
Yeah.
Whatever shows up.
That's right.
Because, life would get boring if you just did the cha-cha all the time, right?
What's the cha-cha?
There's the swing, and there's the tango, and there's, I don't know, I'm not a dancer, but there's lots of, right? There's lots of dances out there, and it's the mixture of those things that makes life interesting.
Do you know any modern dances?
I don't know any dancing at all.
Okay.
I'm not a dancer. Eckhart Tolle said that if there are people that you haven't forgiven, you're not going to really awaken. You have to let go.
Okay.
Back to that again, huh?
Yeah. And it's so easy to do. I mean, I don't know why everybody doesn't do it, right?
What, forgive?
Yeah. It's the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Rumi says, live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. Live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. Right? But what do we think? We think it's rigged to be against us.
Yeah.
Right? Don't live that way. Live as if everything is in your favor. Everything is for you. How many understand that everything is for you? Everything is for you, right? Let's say that together. Everything is for me. And you might be thinking in your head, I know what you're thinking, because I can read your mind. You're thinking, but what about this? What about that? What about this other thing? Yeah, even that. Even that, even this, even that other thing. All of it is for you. Because we live in the God world, right? We live in God's world. Let's take a breath. How does that feel? Can you relax into that? Yeah. So the definition of natural is this idea: occurring as a matter of course, relaxed and unaffected, spontaneous, taking life as it comes. Wow. Taking life as it comes. Because everything that comes is there for a reason, bringing you a message. It's got a story to tell you, something to say. All you have to do is learn how to interpret the message. I mean, I understand that the divine, there's a universal language that the divine speaks. And when you learn to talk, God speech, and you learn how to interpret it, then you're in the flow. You say, well, James, how do you do that? It must be very hard. Oh, yes, it is. Very mysterious. Very few people can ever do it. Mainly, it's babies and children that know how to do it. It's so complex that only babies and children know how to interpret life. Isn't that amazing? And dogs and cats. We're sitting in our house, and we have these creatures that live with us. They don't add anything as far as materiality or funding to the project called our lives, right? And they just laze around, like they own everything. And they're not disturbed. They're not thinking about, whether or not the stock market is going up or down. They're not thinking about their IRA, or, their 401ks. They're not thinking about any of that. They're just like, it's pretty cool here. Laying on this pillow that I didn't purchase, that I didn't wash, that I didn't lay neatly on the bed. You know? How many know we can learn something? We can learn something from babies, children, and animals. The natural flow of life.
I thought there for a minute he was going to talk ill of my cats, and I was going to have to go into surrender mode again.
So
but I get it. Yes,
you see how I rate in our household. I'm not number 2.
I don't know what he's complaining about.
I'm
He has his own pillow.
She'll feed the cats, and it reminds her that we need to eat.
You know, I was just thinking before you said that none of this is to say that when you lean into spirit and have an understanding that everything that shows up in your life is meant to be dealt with and not to be run away from, and that it's for you, doesn't mean that it's pleasant. We're not here telling you that life becomes an instant bed of roses when you learn to do that, right? Have you figured out yet that this life is hard? This life is tough. Being a human, we were talking about this the other day, being a human is full of pain and hard stuff. It just is. But when you understand being in the flow and leaning into spirit and leading a more contemplative life, it does make it easier. Yes, you have to vent. Yes, you have to get things off your chest. Yes, you have to talk about things sometimes. But that's just a moment. You do that and you move on. And you lean into knowing that really all of life is unfolding for your good.
It's all temporary.
And if you think about being in the flow as compared to a river flowing, when the rocks and the obstacles come in the way, they don't stop and complain about it. They don't try to figure out how to go a different direction, right? They just go over it.
They just keep going.
They just go over it. They flow around it.
They don't stop.
It just continues to flow.
Yeah.
And that's the way our life is meant to be. We don't get stopped and struggle with one. We just keep going. Just keep going.
So how many here spend a lot of time doing things that you hate doing? Be honest. Anybody here? You spend time doing things you just wish you didn't have to do that. We have very few brave people.
There's a brave person, yeah, okay.
You know, personally, I've spent years doing things that I really didn't enjoy. And if you do too much of that, you end up being miserable, right? Why am I doing all this stuff? All the expectations that people have. We have to dress a certain way. You have to look a certain way. You have to wear a certain kind of shoe. You have to, do this or do that. I remember as a little child, we went to this little church around the corner because they gave us candy. I mean, when you're a kid, that's why you go, And I remember going in, I was like 8 or 9, 10 years old, and I'd just gotten a haircut. And the minister's wife walks up to me and says, "Your hair's too long. You need to get a haircut." I said, "I just did." It's like, God is really concerned about the length of my hair? Really? Is there a God like that? I don't think so. There's not a God like that who cares about your hairdo. No, my wife does. Right?
And why do I care about it? Because it's a reflection on me.
It's a reflection on
right?
her.
It always comes, it's...
Here's the thing. If you keep doing all of these things that you really don't want to do, you'll end up resenting it. And resentment leads to bitterness and constriction and complaining, right? And then you'll start to project animosity onto others. And then you've got this internal struggle going on, this feeling of insecurity, this feeling of anger, and whatever adjective that you're coming to your head right now. It's not coming to mind. And then you start projecting it onto others. How many understand there's really very few things. There's a few things you have to do, right? There's some things, the basics, certain requirements in order to live in this world and to have a physical body. There's necessities. True? You know, I'm sure that many of you this morning were out chopping wood for the fire, and you're out carrying water back to the house, you know, so that, right? Oh, yeah. Some of us are like perturbed because we have to go to the sink to get a glass of water. Honey, could you bring that for me when you're in there? The basics, right?
Yeah.
The basics.
Some of us are perturbed that we have to pay a bill for the luxury of going to the faucet and getting water out of it, when there are people in other parts of our world that do have to go someplace and carry it by a bucket. When you pay your water bill, be grateful. I'm in gratitude. What a wonderful luxury that I get to walk into the kitchen and turn on the tap and have cold or hot water stream forward from it.
Yeah.
What a luxury.
Yeah, but my refrigerator thing is broken, so I'm miserable. And you better get them out of here to fix it right now. Right?
Thank God
The
for
basics.
refrigerators.
The basics. Things we got to do.
Yeah.
All right? Now, there's two ways you can do those things. One is you can do it with resistance, right? And you can fight it. Or you can say, okay, pay the bill. Got the money, pay it. I need something fixed, get it fixed.
Find a way to be in gratitude with it.
You learn to be at peace with it. You learn to be in cooperation with life, in cooperation with your blessings. I'm so grateful to have water. I mean, you kind of need that, right? And food. I mean, you walk into any grocery stores and there are shelves full of stuff that you did not have to go out and hunt down yourself. Now, you do have to hunt through the aisles because these places are big anymore, right? Huge.
So we go to the yogurt section and there are 100 different types of yogurt. And we go, they don't have my Yoplait black cherry.
Oh, don't you hate it when that happens?
I just don't know how I'm going
That's
to carry
awful.
on.
Right? Instead of going, okay, I have 100 choices here to make, right? It becomes a habit. We do some of that stuff out of habit.
Then the second level of responsibilities are the life choices that we make. Who am I going to spend my time with? Right? And you start making these choices. Relationships, career, family. How many know you can choose to be with your family or not? Right? These are all choices that we make. If you are there at Thanksgiving dinner, it's because you chose to be there. Say amen, somebody. All right. Right? If you chose to be there, then bring your beautiful self. Right? Bring your true natural self. Just be with them. Just be with the people. It doesn't matter that they disagree with everything you say and do. They don't get you, but that's okay. That's okay, because you do have people that get you. In fact, tell the person next to you, say, I get you. I get you. I get you.
I get you, and the weirdness in me honors the weirdness in you. And if you'd like to have that on a t-shirt, you can go to the Unity website and you can order one, can't you, Susan? Yes, you can.
Number 3 is everything else. What is everything else? It's our favorite things. It's the flavors, the colors, the brands, the styles, all the things that we get to play with in life. Isn't it wonderful? Right? You look around the room, look at all the different colored shirts that you're wearing. You chose that. Right? Now, Leah chose mine, but no, I'm just kidding. She didn't, really. So, these are the fun things in life we get to play with. But everything can be more fun if you cooperate with life. Because life is just another way of saying God, isn't it? Really? Isn't it? Divinity shows up in everything. Acceptance and surrender. Michael Singer says, the truth is, everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. Did you get it? I love that. The truth is, he says, everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time that everything will be okay. If it's not okay, it's because you're not okay with it. Say with me, aha! We want to be our true natural selves. Surrender leads to detachment, pulling our energy out of all the things that we don't really need in our lives. How many know there are things you don't really need? All that extra stuff that you're trying to pad your life with, you know? It's like in the 1920s, you know how many pairs of pants and shirts people had? 1 or 2. Right? Should I wear the green? Or should I wear the green? There was you just wore what you had, right? And you didn't go to the big boutique and buy jeans with the properly made holes in the right place. The little strings, you know. They just got to be that way after a while. Right? Because you used them. How many know that we're pretty spoiled in our 21st century here? Right? We've got it made, ladies and gentlemen, and we forget about it because we're always wanting to complain about everything. Shift the complaining to gratitude. Shift it. It's a subtle shift, but once you do, you get perspective. You get perspective. And once you get perspective, then you truly understand. Proverbs says, in all of your getting, get understanding. Get understanding. So, Jesus said, don't worry about what people think about you. He says, if your right hand offends you, then cut it off. I mean, I choose not to interpret that literally. What does it mean? In the scriptures, there's the right hand of God and the left hand. The right hand is the power. It is what you do. It is your action. It's how you live. It's your choices you make. And your left hand is more the corrective, and it's the, you know. And as a matter of fact, in the old days, left-handed people were made to use their right hand because they thought that was the devil, right? Now we've discovered that left-handed people are pretty smart. Isn't that amazing? So he was speaking metaphorically. In other words, let go of anything that's blocking you, that's holding you back, that's keeping you from your joy. It's keeping you from that intimacy with life. that intimacy with people, that intimacy with God. It's keep you, separate from and away from. You want to read that one?
Yeah, in addition to detaching from what other people think about us, it's important to detach from outcome. Detach from outcome. If you look back over the things that have happened in your life, how many of those things have happened exactly the way, the outcome of those things happened exactly the way that you thought that it would? Right? Detach from the outcome. Lao Tse said, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. When we let go of when we detach and let go of how we think things should be or how we think things should be resolved, we actually open up that field of possibility.
Yeah.
Right? Where anything can happen, any resolution can appear, and it will be so much better than anything that I could have fashioned in myself. Letting go of the need to have things be the way that you want them to be.
You know what I've discovered about people? Is that most people really don't know what they want. They think they know what they want, but when they get it, they say, oh, this wasn't what I thought that I was going to get. Yep. You notice that?
Yeah, how many times have I looked back on something that, I was just so certain that I wanted this thing to happen in this way, this to buy this home, to have this job, to experience this. And you look back on it, a year later, my gosh, am I glad that didn't happen. We had our hearts set on a house one time years and years ago that wound up, we discovered that had major flooding issues, right? And we were that's the house we want. We're so in love with that house, right? I can't believe God didn't give us that house, right? We look back on things and realize that, everything really played out just as I needed it to.
Yeah.
But I can't see with my limited mind and my limited vision the possibilities that exist. So when I can detach from that, there's so many possibilities that open up.
What if everything you've ever wanted, truly wanted, was already there? It's already here, right now. What if it's already there? But we're so caught up into what, it should be this way, blah, 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 instead of, there it is. It may not come in the package that you think it's supposed to come in, right? Yeah. But it will come to you. It will come to you. That receptive state. So
I'm going to give you a little heads up about something. If you come to a prayer chaplain following the service and you sit down and you say, I have a job interview tomorrow and I want you to pray that I get this job, you are going to maybe walk away disappointed with your experience with the prayer chaplain when the prayer chaplain says, we hold the space and the potential for your right and perfect job opening up for you. They're not going to say, we just pray that you get this job tomorrow, we affirm it, we confirm it, we whatever, right? That prayer chaplain doesn't know that that's what's for you. You don't know that that's what's for you, right? But they will say, we hold the space for the right and perfect job for you manifesting, and we see that appearing for you now. It's right here already available. And may you know that. May you just be at peace with whatever happens tomorrow. So they're going to do an affirmative prayer. I'm just giving you a little heads up so you know.
All right.
Affirmative prayer, what happens behind that screen over there, you know. Listen to the intention. Listen to what is being unfolded for you about potential. Because we don't know what is always for our highest and best good. Speaking of prayer chaplains, I'm sorry, I know you want to move on, and prayer chaplain training is opening up in August, and we only offer this one time a year. I highly encourage you to sit with the idea of being a prayer chaplain. If you have questions about prayer, if you don't believe in prayer, if you're completely confused about prayer, you need to become a prayer chaplain.
Absolutely.
Because it is the place where you get to do that work and uncover that for yourself and be with a group of tapped-in individuals who are all experiencing that same thing and working together in harmony to understand prayer. And we all have questions about it, but it's a great place to explore it, and there is no satisfaction like sitting with someone and being able to hold sacred space with them when there's pain in their life or when something's appearing, and to be able to remind them of who they are at a time when maybe they can't do that for themselves. So there's brochures in the back. I highly encourage you to pick up one. Come and talk to me if you're interested. Talk to one of our prayer chaplains about their experience. But put that on your, when you go into meditation, hold that. Ask yourself, is this for me? Think about it. Are we ready?
When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Take a moment to center ourselves in prayer. Many times we pray from anxiety, from fear. But when you can just be still and pray from a state of grace, just allowing the Spirit of God, Christ's presence, that infinite love to hold you, just to be with you in the moment. Maybe that's what prayer really is a divine connection. Just tapping into that loving, accepting presence of God. And out from that intimacy with divinity is birth, your life, the joys, peace, the experiences, the relationships, the career, that new house you're looking at. Maybe you need a new car, whatever it is. All of that is birth from that communion, that divine intimacy. sometimes, when you really get perspective, the greatest prayer you can pray is, thank you, thank you, thank you. Maybe you have those kinds of people in your life. They just bring so much good to your life. You just want to say thank you. Thank you. But you have to be paying attention. You have to notice. It's all around us. All around us. Everything you need. Even before you ask, there's an answer. The answer appears. God appears in the quiet and the stillness of your own heart. And sometimes you just get that sense, that feeling that everything is okay. And maybe that's the answer that you need in the moment. That everything is all right. I'm okay with whatever is. I'm okay with it. And somehow that just opens the door to all the other things that you desire, that you'd like to see. The little surprises along the way. Wow. So this morning, maybe you have a loved one that you'd like to hold in prayer. A friend, family member. I know there are those in our group that are experiencing all kinds of challenges. Sometimes life can be hard. And so, for those that are experiencing the hardness, the toughness, we hold you in this moment in peace. We call forth divine order into your life. We call forth strength and courage to rise up and to embrace and to meet with whatever it is that you're dealing with now, knowing that you are loved unconditionally and that God's got this. Maybe you're sitting at home right now and you're watching. You've been feeling alone lately. Not sure why, what's going on. You just don't feel right. I invite you now to just let go of that feeling. Just let it go. Just let it go. And accept the grace that is before you. Look around. Look around. So we see all things new and fresh with the beginner's mind. And we are grateful this morning for you. We love you. We surround you with our prayers. And we call forth your highest and your best. And so the person sitting next to you, just say a little prayer for them now in your own way, whatever works for you. Just whisper a prayer for them right now. And everyone in this room has somebody praying for you right now. You are cared for more than you know. More than you know. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. That's all. That's all we're asking is just be yourself. Your true natural self. The you that God created you to be. Because God doesn't make any junk. And it's all okay. And it will be okay. All things resolve when you let it. When you let it. When you let it. So I invite you now to sit for a moment in the stillness and just listen and pay attention to whatever you hear inside your own heart. And so now, in the name of the Christ and all that is sacred, holy, and good, say amen. So be it. So it is. Let's take a moment to reach and stretch and release.